Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of In the Crosshairs presented by Line Sniper, your definitive source for sports betting content and, of course, in-game analysis. I'm your host, Ali Melendez, coming to you live from inside the Line Sniper studio. Super excited to be here. Now, sports are finally back. The NBA has reopened. Baseball is back in the swing of things. UFC is back in Vegas. And of course, football is just around the corner. So all good there. Things are almost sort of starting to feel normal again, but we are definitely here for all of it. Now, today, our expert team of analysts will bring you everything you need to know for this week in sports betting. So do not go anywhere. We have our NBA expert, Joey Knish, here to give us the rundown on the NBA's first week back and, of course, the week ahead. Our man JD will tell us what's what with this week's PGA Championship tournament, give you the winners, the losers, and of course, the Tigers. Now, of course, baseball isn't going anywhere, so we will cover that with our MLB guru, Coz, and talk about who you need to watch in this week's matchups. We're so happy to have a full week of sports to go over, and there is a lot to cover. So put your seatbelts on. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it with a little bit of America's pastime, MLB. What's up, Coz? So happy to have you. Now, the MLB had a shaky start to this season, but of course it seems like we are kind of off, the ground for now. And due to the shortened season, every single game means so much more for that playoff hunt. Even the Pirates have a shot. All right, for legal reasons, obviously that was a joke. Anyway, we have a lot of big series this week, some wrap-ups just after the show, and of course some are just about to start off. So let's bring our MLB expert, Coz, to run us through it. Coz, welcome, come on in. Thought you were already in there, but now you're in there. So how you doing? How we feeling? Talk to me.
I have all these sports back. I'm not trying to model Nicaraguan basketball anymore, so this is a good change of pace.
Talk about it.
But every game is 2.7 to a normal game, so it's a race to the finish.
Absolutely. Now, we are so happy to have you. Obviously, your face is just smiley and happy, but, mostly because we need you to help us with all of these games. We have the continuation of the Phillies-Yankees series, and, of course, the Braves are going to get started against the Blue Jays. We got the Royals versus Cubs, and Juan Soto returns for the Nationals against a Mets team that is now playing without Yoenis Cespedes, so who opted out today of Sunday's game. So, you know what I'm saying. But, Coz, who do you like this week? Talk to me.
Yeah, I had a short card for tonight, but I did at least like the Nationals tonight against your Mets. So sorry to say that, but I do make this fair line, minus 170 towards the Nationals. I really love Patrick Corbin. He came off that huge dominant performance in October, and hopefully he's going to keep that going. The Nats were off for a few days due to quarantine, but they are back since July 30th. So hopefully they're well rested. And like you said, that Mets lineup is a bit depleted with Cespedes gone, but they do still have a strong lineup. However, I think the Nats definitely have a pitching advantage here for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So Coz has the Nationals to beat out DeGrom and the boys from Queens, but keep an eye on lines for Kansas City and Toronto. Now, we think there could be money to be made there if you like the money line. So no matter what, these are going to be some very interesting games for sure to watch, so make sure you do that. So even with the now, delayed Phillies-Yankees game, which actually might be a blessing in disguise, as the Judge Stanton Yankees have been absolutely super hot since the return. So maybe they'll cool off a bit and save Bryce Harper and the Phillies a loss. But, I'm all for the Yanks, so we'll see what happens there. But speaking of the players, we saw Javier Baez cleaning up 2 games for the Cubs this week. And I had mentioned Juan Soto taking the field again for the Nationals. So, Coz, do you see any player props this week that look like particularly nice, or any money floating out there? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not a huge props person, but I did do some digging this morning for our show, and I'm going to be honest, I'm a little biased here. I'm a huge Cubs fan, so I'm really excited about this Cubs start and tonight's game with Hendricks on the mound. I did some digging, and I do like his strikeout prop of over 5.5 strikeouts for tonight against the Royals. He's not known for being a strikeout pitcher, but he really worked on his all of his pitches over the offseason, and he added a really, really gross curveball that looks fantastic. So I'm really excited about this prop at plus money. It's plus 129 over at Pinnacle. So if you can find anything for plus money on this, I think it's a great shot. Hendricks has just been dominant at home for over a year now. He had a 2.04 ERA last season, and then he just completely smoked the Brewers opening night at Wrigley. So I'm hoping that performance continues here for over 5.5 strikeouts.
All right, so Co's like Chicago's Kylie Hendricks to put out 6 or more strikeouts tonight against the Royals. Now, Hendricks did have that nasty first game back of the season with 9 strikeouts against the Brewers. And, of course, for the Mets game, well, at the very least, you don't have to worry about any Yoenis Cespedes props anymore, at least. So there we have that. But seriously, you really have a lot of guys this season putting in work and showing off. You got to think that's an effect of this limited season. It really opens up a lot of guys to shine that might otherwise obviously be like overshadowed. But speaking of being overshadowed, because I love transitions like that, there is a big COVID-shaped shadow hanging over this season. And I mean, we've been hearing so much about it lately, and it just reared its ugly head in St. Louis with several Cardinals player testing positive. So, Coz, how does the Cardinals news, affect this season? COVID is running rampant everywhere, all over MLB, but is the writing on the wall for the MLB? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there is a silver lining to this. There was obviously a bummer that the Cardinals had this, especially after what happened to the Marlins, and then all 3 or 4 other teams on the East Coast had to quarantine just for safety, and so now the Cardinals are out for almost a week. It's unfortunate. It seemed like on Twitter that the Cardinals are out and about, not necessarily being as safe as they should have been. But hopefully, like I said, there's a silver lining. It's a wake-up call for everybody to, take this seriously. Some teams have really great protocols in place. Some others might be too lax, like we saw with the Marlins and now possibly the Cardinals. So it's going to be tough to get in the season if this keeps happening. We're going to need double headers regardless. But like I said, hopefully we are at least going to get players take this more seriously, and the Players Union and the MLB come together and aren't so having such a big conflict like they did before the season started to really, team up and get this under control, because it's concerning to see just every team's kind of on their own at this point to make a call or not. And even up to individual players have to make that call sometimes. So hopefully they get this straightened out and we don't see too many more of these, but it's always going to be there, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the way it's been going, I mean, I feel like it's going to be really hard for teams to actually play the full 60 games, which is so weird considering we already have such a reduced season already. But I mean, every time a team, gets a positive COVID test, we have to bench a week's worth of games. That's just how it is. But unfortunately, it seems like we cannot have a week go by without a COVID-related question. That's just the times we're living in. But Coz, we thank you so much for the input, as always. Coz, we will definitely bring you back. So hang on tight, and we'll definitely bring you back soon. So don't go anywhere. But for now, let's change gears and talk about golf and, of course, the PGA. So the PGA has been one of the most active sports associations this summer, and we have played most of the tourneys on this end of the PGA Tour, which is kind of nice. So far, so good. It has all led up to the PGA Championship out of the TPC Harding Park in San Francisco, baby. There is an $11 million purse on the table here. So plenty of pros looking to take piece of that home, of course, and we have plenty of bettors at home hoping to make a little money off of it themselves. And our resident golf expert, JD, is here to break down a championship for us and hopefully help you guys, score some cash, because why not? JD, welcome. How are you, man?
I'm good, Allie. How you been? Long time no see.
I know. Well, I'm happy to be back because that means sports are back, and that means we're all kind of in the game again. So it's been exciting. It's been good. All right. Well, we are obviously so happy to have you. I know you've been keeping your eye on golf, and now the big one is here. So the PGA Championship, we have a huge field of potential winners walking into San Francisco. Brooks Koepka. Brokers, no, that's a different show. Brooks Koepka, and of course, Justin Thomas leading the pack. Now, you have guys like Rory and DeChambeau who could easily make a pull for first place, and we'll hear your thoughts on that. And of course, Tour, stalwarts like Tiger, who admittedly hasn't had the best showing at the PGA Championship in the past. But JD, with all of these guys heading into the championship, who actually leaves San Francisco lifting that big 150? Who you got for the tournament winner here? Talk to me, man.
Absolutely. Honest to God truth, we're in major season right now, and golf has been going hot and heavy for the last 2 months, and it's kind of culminated to what is the biggest tournament of 2020 by far. The first major at the PGA, which is normally not the first major, so it's a little unique. But what you're looking at major season is it's Brooks Koepka season, really. Like, that's really what it should be renamed. The guy is just an absolute monster when it comes to competing at the highest stage. U.S. Open champion, yep. PGA champion. He holds both of those currently as we speak right now. So if you're looking at the top of the board, you're going to see JT, who has an interesting little backstory. Both his dad and grandpa were PGA professionals. So this tournament, and he's a PGA champion winner as well, this tournament holds a nice special spot to him particularly. Just won last week, played decent. I honestly got you. He didn't play great, well enough to win a golf tournament, but when you're the best player in the world, which he is, that's all you have to do. You're looking at Rory, who's not playing super well right now. Rahm coming off a big win at the Memorial. And then you have Brooks. And that's basically the top of the market there. For me, I love Brooks Koepka this week. I think Brooks Koepka at plus 1,100, 11 to 1. Again, when you look at statistical models, they're not going to incorporate what Brooks does at these majors, because what you're going to usually be looking at are how has this guy been performing more recently. So when you look at Brooks's recent form, not too good. Went through a really bad knee injury at the end of last year, has been rehabbing. But here's the thing. What you're looking for when it comes to Koepka is just a glimmer of hope. Like, that's all we're looking for. We need something. And last week he got second at a very difficult tournament at the WGC, had a very similar field to where we're at this week. So that second place finish was behind ball striking expertise, and that is Brooks' bread and butter. If he's striking the ball like he did last week, this week, coupled with his clutch putting, for me, 11 plus 1,100, he should be the favorite in this golf tournament. He's not, so I'm going to take Brooks as the winner.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen obviously plenty of people favoring Koepka on Twitter, but you can't discount Justin Thomas. I mean, he's got to be feeling good after the St. Jude Invitational. So we'll just have to see, obviously, how that affects his game. And JD, you've watched these guys play on all kinds of courses this tour, but I want to talk about the TPC Harding. Now, this is the first time the PGA Championship has come out of this course. So is there anything that we should know about this course in particular? Who do you see having a particularly good or bad day at the Harding?
So, Allie, the awesome thing about Harding Park is it's only about an hour and a half away from me. I was actually able to play this golf course 3 days before it shut down. So I was able to play it in not the conditions that they're seeing now, because this was a good 3 weeks ago. But
of course,
honestly, and I'm a decent golfer. I'm like anywhere from a 3 to a 5 handicap. I can get it around decent enough. The hardest course I've played in the last 3 years, the worst score I've shot in the last 3 years, it was blowing. The fairways are so tiny. I mean, you can't even, you literally, they're 20 yards wide. These guys don't see those kind of fairways on a week-to-week basis on the actual PGA Tour. You're looking at weather in San Francisco. Anyone who's been knows it can't be more bipolar. They're calling for some winds. It's going to be anywhere from 10 to 20 throughout the entire week. You're going to get gusts into the 30s. But most importantly, you're going to get hard greens, hard surfaces, and unbelievably difficult rough. Like, if you are in the rough, you will not get the ball near the flag. Like, that's just how it's going to be. So when you're looking at guys at Harding Park especially, you're going to want to hit it in the fairway. But here's the thing, that's not good enough. You also need to hit it long, because it's a par 72. It's a par 70, 7,200 yards, okay? But it plays every ounce of that, because you're looking at sea level San Francisco weather. The ball does not travel. I was listening to Tiger at his press conference earlier this week, and they have these things called TrackMan, where they have all the launch angle, the spin, the ball speed, everything. And these guys aren't getting any distance off their shots. So we're going from playing in the Midwest and Southern courses where it's a 90 degrees, the ball's jumping, to 60 degrees, and the ball's going absolutely nowhere. It's going to play every inch. So what I'm looking for are guys, and who I'm looking to back and who I'm looking to fade are going to be guys who can get the ball in play, who are long enough to have irons in. And ultimately, the interesting thing about this golf course is once you're on the greens, not real challenging. Not a lot of undulations, really straightforward. I'm a really bad putter, to be honest with you. And I had no problems navigating these greens. Like, they were pretty simple. So, and then
Okay.
the last caveat is you have a lot of dogleg rights to dogleg lefts. So what that means is off the tee, you have to hit a draw. So when I'm looking at guys who to be successful and guys to not be successful, my first guy is Webb Simpson. He has 2 wins already on tour this year, and you're able to get him at a top 5 bet around plus 550. He hits a huge rope draw off the tee. This thing is right to left, it's moving, and he's super accurate with it. So he should be in play. A former major winner, he won the U.S. Open a couple years back, right across the street from this golf course at Olympic Club, mind you. So he's familiar with the area. Love Webb, and looking for a fade. Jordan Spieth will not make the cut. You can get that anywhere from plus 180 to plus 220. The guy has showed a little bit with his irons last week at the WGC event, but still lost strokes off the tee because he sprays it. The dude couldn't hit a cornfield with his driver, okay? And if you're doing that at Harding Park, you have absolutely no chance to score. So I love that as another bet and of course unfit for Spieth.
All right, so we're going with Webb. I mean, yeah, Jordan Spieth hasn't had a strong last leg of the tour. I mean, the guy hasn't seen the top 10 on a sheet since June. So, like, I think I also like the Webb pick. I mean, he's won his fair share of this tour. He's wound up in the top 5 or 3 and on quite a few tournaments this year. And not to mention, we've seen guys like Rory do very well on the Harding in the past. So he took the WGC Cadillac match back in 2015. So if you're a Rory fan, you got to hope the course cooperates with him once again, since obviously now we have more insight on the difficulty that is this course. But JD, I'm sick of talking about all the other boys at the top of the card. What is the weird stuff coming out of the championship? Like do you see any absolutely degenerate bets that you like, okay, or is this the kind of tournament that we have to just kind of play it a bit safer? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, the beautiful thing about betting golf is there are plenty of degen bets to make. One that I particularly like, and and this is something that I analyze every single week because it's fun and people like it. Is there an actual angle to this? I mean, really, I don't know. I can't model it. So, it is absolutely degen central, which, hey, I'm all about that. Let's be honest here. Hole in one, yes or no, is a fun bet to make, okay? So when you're looking at it, you want to obviously analyze the par 3s. That's where the hole in one is going to come from. And in particular, number 8 here is basically impossible. It's going to be played as one of the hardest holes on the golf course. It's a 230-yard par 3. I hit a full 3-wood into that sucker, and they're playing it 40 yards back. So no chance at a hole in one on that hole. But when we're coming down the stretch on Sunday, keep an eye on number 17. At this point, my guess is there will already be a hole in one here, so you probably will have seen it by then. It plays as a really short par 3, and if there's no wind, these guys are going to be hitting wedges into this hole. I hit a little knockdown gap wedge into this thing. Made birdie, by the way. That was my only birdie of the day. Thank you very much. But what I will say is this. If you give these guys a wedge in hand, at an easy green, they will take dead aim. It's going to play anywhere from 160 to 170, and it doesn't look like you're going to have mornings where the wind will be cooperating. They're going to be able to absolutely fire at that flag. A hole in one there is going to happen. Plus 130 is the number I found. Do a little shopping. That's my favorite degen bet.
Ooh, so you're saying yes to the hole in one. All right, well, it can't all be tournament winners and, top 10s. So sometimes you just got to know if we're going to have some fun out there. There are some tough par 3s on the TPC Harding, including a steep uphill one. But hey, guys, JD is saying yes to the hole in one. So yes. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying his words. And there you have it. But as always, with our wilder bets, make sure to play at your own risk, people. JD can't do everything for you. He can just help you a little bit. But that is going to do it for golf, at least for now. So JD, will see you in a bit for the roundtable discussion. And now that we've covered the PGA, we've talked MLB, we've talked PGA, we've talked golf, we're taking swings, we're taking a lot of things going on right now, but it's summer. It's too hot for all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? We need a cooler sport, one that is my personal favorite. So thankfully, basketball is finally back. We have got so much to talk about, so let's get right into it with, of course, our NBA expert, Knish. Now, the NBA had its reopening night with the Lakers beating out the Clippers and the Jazz knocking down Zion Williamson and the Pelicans. Since then, we've had a full weekend of games, and at this point, every game we can make or break a team shot at the playoffs. Now, honestly, I want to welcome in my good friend, our NBA correspondent, Joey Knish, everybody, to help us analyze some of these past
what's happening?
For the rest of the week. My Nets just won, but I'm not going to get all in on my favorite teams here, but I'm just very excited. And of course, Joey, I am very excited that you can join us right now. How are you?
I'm great. How did you line it up where you come back to the show after 3 months and your Nets cash the biggest money line in the NBA in 5 years? 20-1 tickets were out there, 15-1. I had some guys that actually laid the Bucks a money line in a couple of ways and are not very happy right now. But you come in here with the biggest money line cash in 5 years as the return to the show. Great to be back on with you, and hopefully you're sprinkling a little change over there after that Nets money line.
Absolutely, because I'm a part of this show with you guys, so I know a little something. But so happy to have you, Knish. Now, the Bucks are just one game away from clinching first in the East, but they're having a tough time getting going in the season restart, including a little loss to the Nets just after noon. And the Pelicans, of course, they might be out of the playoff conversation all together. So after last week, what do you see in the playoffs? What teams going there? And, are there any futures? Okay, should bettors be looking at the Pelicans as a lost cause, or can they still rally? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah. I mean, you think and this one, a lot of people were really big on the Pelicans coming into this day. They thought, they'd have Zion in shape, turn it around. To be honest with you, the way that they managed Zion early on, it basically lended you to believe that making the playoff for them wasn't really that much of a priority. If they were really trying to go at it, and I know they say they want to manage his minute, he wasn't, he took a little bit of time off, was outside the bubble, but you saw his workload really light in the first 2 games. They had to have those games. Now you're looking at a situation where they pretty much have to win out. I don't, even if they win out, I don't think they can get in, and I don't think they're really much of a threat to go anywhere. It seemed like a team that wanted to get to the end of the season and really make a run for future years going forward, knowing that there's not much that they can do as far as making noise this year. One team, and this team they've sold me the past couple of years as a team that I thought could get over the hump. We're never able to do it, as the Warriors got them time after time after time. The price out there, and usually, the NBA, most part, the cream rises to the top. But if I'm taking a price in the situation where we're not going to have any home court advantage in the playoffs and there's going to be a little bit more of a neutralized situation, it's the Rockets. You saw, they were able to outgun the Mavericks in a game where that they were basically playing, playground style rules on defense. But when they lock in, and you saw it in the last few minutes of the fourth quarter in overtime, if they actually put out a respectable defensive effort, and I think you'll see that more as the games become, the seeding doesn't matter right now. There's no home court advantage. It really, they're going to be in the 4th or 5th seed. So for them, these games are really a get back into shape, get back into rhythm. I don't think the wins and losses really, plays a critical factor. If you can get a Rockets 7-1, 750, 8-1, I've seen those out there. For me, that's a team, a high variance team with the way they shoot the 3 ball and some of the fact that I think they can, even though the rebounding and the defense doesn't look great on a night-to-night basis right now. I think you're going to get them in a playoff series. You get them where it matters a little more, and I think you'll get more of that effort throughout the game. That's a little bit, for me on the futures table, if I'm buying one, it's only going to be on the Rockets. I don't think you can lay chalk here the way this is structured.
Okay. All right. So, yes, the Pelicans, they are on thin ice, but not quite out just yet. And as you said, Joey, the Rockets are 2-0 since the return. You've got Harden, you've got Westbrook, you've got Rob Covington. They are reading like a team that people are underestimating, but they actually still have a shot to take the West. So that's something that will obviously become clearer over the next few weeks of games, something I'm very interested in seeing how that turns out. But looking at this week's games, now tonight we got the Celtics and the Heat at 6:30. We've got Rockets versus Blazers at 9 Eastern. And then, of course, just this week we have Thunder, Lakers, Grizzlies, Jazz, and, of course, the Celtics facing off against the Heat. So that's a lot going on, which I'm super excited about. But, Knish, who do you like this week? So give us our winners or losers from the Mickey Mouse basketball basketball league go.
Yeah, this all day NBA is good. I'm not really sleeping anymore because I'm going to get up and just watch game after game after game after game. So it's great. I like the Celtics tonight. I think that the key, and again, we had just mentioned this, where the seeding doesn't take a huge priority now without home court advantage and trying to avoid it. So as far as the Celtics Heat, now you've got the Heat not on back-to-back, where I don't know if you're going to see these teams really push the limit with their starters and a lot of the lineup to kind of extend it on these back-to-backs, since the games itself, if you're already locked into a playoff position, now that you're not really battling for home court anymore, you're not going to catch, the get up to change your seed or the Bucks or anything. You're really kind of just playing, if you're locked into a playoff position, playing to get the team back into shape, get the rhythm back, get the shooting back. As we said, there's not a ton of priority on the real wins and losses. And I've got the Celtics, a team that I liked with Kemba a little healthier. They came back into the bubble. Tatum struggled for a game, got it back last game. And now you've got a Heat team. And this is presumptuous here. So I'll take the L here if I'm wrong. I think you'll see the Heat really go deeper into the bench, not play their starters a ton of minutes, and kind of lighten that workload, because you've just got guys coming back in the bubble. They've been off for 3 months. Why am I going to push my team on a back-to-back when this win and loss doesn't really have too much of effect as far as what I'm going to do for the playoffs? So I laid it with the Celtics -3. I'd still lay it -3.5. That's my favorite play of the night, and that's where I'm looking at as far as a game on the slate tonight for a decent play.
Okay, awesome. So Joey says to trust in Boston over Miami. Now, the Celtics are walking in tonight with a full roster. Obviously, no one is listed on the injury report, which is great. And that's been, few and far between for them this season. So look for them to play hard against the Heat tonight for sure. That's going to be a really exciting game. Now, Knish, I did just want to get one more thing from you before we bring the other boys back in for the roundtable discussion. And that's some player props. Now, with all these games going on, it's obviously very easy to overlook some players, especially on teams that aren't super close to the playoff picture. But Knish, do you have any player props for us this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna swim with the fish tonight and go right with the square player prop and just go with the Dame Lillard over tonight. These Rockets games have been glorified, scrimmages where they're, you're seeing it. They're just going up and down the court firing. Dame looks great. He came back into this bubble, and the Blazers itself, overall as a team that could be sneaky here if they can get in to the 8th seed. They look dangerous. They look good to go. They got Nurkic back, but I went Dame over 28.5 points. I don't think you're going to see. Maybe you see Russ or somebody try in the fourth quarter if the game's close, lock onto him. But I think the Rockets, as a strategy so far, and what you've seen from them, basically the first 3 quarters, they're kind of going up and down the court, not looking to really lock in too much on defense, maybe playing it a little bit at the end. But I think Dame will have a ton of volume tonight. He should be able to, at least get up in the, the range of 6 to 8 3-point shots. If he shoots any modicum of a decent percentage, plus getting to the free throw line, the Rockets aren't playing anybody near the rim that has any kind of shot blocking presence. So if he wants to go into attack mode, get to the rim, that can be a layup line for him tonight. I think you'll see a ton of volume out of Lillard. The totals, these are up in the high 230s, 240. For me, Dame over 28.5 is a good look.
Okay, cool. So Knish has Damian Lillard to be 28 points tonight against the Rockets. He put up 29 in the first game back, 30 points against the Celtics on Sunday. So obviously if he's still warming up and getting comfortable in this new season, new bubble, he could easily continue to put up big points for the Trailblazers, especially as they play more of these Disney World games. Because guys, down in Florida, these guys are literally living and breathing basketball. I mean, that is actually the only thing they're allowed to do in the bubble. So definitely look for some big plays out of Damian Lillard tonight for sure. And I'm excited to see what happens. But Knish, thank you so much. You are always a pleasure to talk to about this stuff. But that is going to do it for basketball. And Knish, stay with us. Don't go anywhere, because it is time to bring JD and Coz back to talk about some stuff we might have skipped over for the week. So welcome, 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 everybody. We're all back together, one big happy sports family. JD, Coz, of course, welcome back. Now, obviously, guys, it has been a weird week for sports news. I mean, we've got guys walking out of games without telling anyone. We already have our first injuries of the NBA season, and the XFL, get this, is somehow back and under new ownership, question mark. So plenty of teams have already locked in a position for the playoffs. And for the most teams like the Raptors and Lakers, it's just a matter of seeing what seed they grab. But there are still open spots in the playoffs. And of course, someone has got to take those seats. So you have teams like the Spurs, Pelicans, Magic looking to secure themselves a spot, and we'll see about that. I wanted to ask you guys, who is your dark horse to make it into the NBA playoffs this year? JD, you haven't gotten to talk about basketball in a while, so start us off, man. I got to hear it.
This is just going to, kind of piggyback on what Knish was saying. The Blazers have the best player of all those guys. Dame Lillard is an absolute monster. We've seen what he can do in the playoffs. One of the clutchest players in the league. They're getting Nurkic back. They're getting Collins back. They're absolutely going to be someone to get to have to get by. I'm telling you right now, I don't think the Lakers nor the Clippers want to see them in the first round, especially considering you're looking at a Western Conference team last year, right? They made the finals. This isn't a joke. They're not a joke of a team. One of the reasons why they struggled a little bit, during the year, injuries. They were just ravaged, man. But they have the veteran presence there. They have these guys, especially the bigs, back to handle the Davises, to be able to match up on the wings with the Clippers. So for me, I love the Blazers in this spot. Again, whenever you have Dame, you have a shooter's chance because that guy can go off at any given second, especially on the big stage. He loves that stuff. I love the Blazers.
All right, I'd be surprised if Knish didn't agree with you, but Knish, I got to hear your thoughts next.
Let me tell you something. Am I going to listen? Did JD steal my team? Yes. Am I going to sit down here and agree with him? Hell no. So I'm going with it. Listen, I'll go with that. And do I like the Blazers? Yes. I'm going to go with the Spurs. I don't know how this team is winning basketball games. They've came back in the exhibition season. They looked horrific. Like their starters were losing games. Again, they were keeping them out in the second half. They've came back into the regular season and are somehow playing good basketball again. I don't have a great explanation for it. They came back. They've looked all right. They've got a little bit of soft schedule to come out. And again, Memphis might lose. There's a chance with their schedule they might lose out. I'll go begrudgingly here with the Spurs as a team to jump in. Do I think they can make a lot of noise once they get there? No. But if it's not the Blazers, I think the Spurs could ride it out here and slide into that 8 seed before getting their ass kicked by the Lakers.
All right, Coz, last but not least, hopefully there's a team for you that you actually believe in, but what is your thoughts on that?
Well, we're just going to keep playing hot potato because I was also going to say Spurs. Unfortunately, I'm going to agree with Knish with this one. And I know
Jason
why.
Knish again. I know it's a Kaz theme for the last few months.
I actually know why the Spurs are going to make it. Greg Popovich, best coach of all time. He's going to get them there. They are just 2 games out of the 8th spot. Like Knish said, the Grizzlies have fallen apart, apparently. They don't know how to win anymore. They haven't won a game in the bubble yet. Spurs are 2-1 since they got there. I think they can do it. They may not have the talent, but they got the coach, and he's going to have those guys. He's going to have their mindset right. I think they can do it.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. But guys, before we wrap up, let's just, for old time's sake, just kidding, this show is like literally brand new, but just give us one last bet for the road, the bet that you are taking no matter what this week. I'm talking literally any sport, any team. What is your best bet of the week? Knish, take us away, who you got and why.
I'm going to go a little bit off the grid with a little MLS playoffs here. It's my favorite league on earth. I'm not going to lie to you that maybe it may not be the most profitable sport here. Let me get you an official line here, so I'm not giving you something stale here. But we got the semifinals coming up. It's been a great tournament, the MLS's back tournament so far. I'm going to go. And it's a team that I have liked how they've looked overall since they've been back. And I don't know how they're doing it, but I'm going Orlando City pick here that you can get it right around, minus 105, minus 110 in that Orlando City pick. They've looked rejuvenated under the new coaching staff. I faded them last game against LAFC. They outplayed LAFC and again, I know it's in Orlando, no fans. I'll call it a neutral field, but the best team in the MLS, for the last solidly 2 years, they were the better team against LAFC, fully deserved that win. They tied it at the end, ended up winning in a shootout. I like Orlando. I think Minnesota is a little overvalued. I like Orlando City to keep the run going. I think they're going to get to the finals. And they've just been complete. It's a league where a new coach can just do that much for you. They've got a couple of young players going well in Mueller. They've got Nani, the old throwback. He's, 33, 34, looks good. Orlando City for me, that's coming up. I believe August 6th is the game night here. Orlando City, take them pick. I think they're going to win, get it to the finals.
Awesome. Good to know. Thank you, man. All right, JD, what is the play this week? Give me your thoughts.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to stick with my bread and butter golf. We mentioned Spieth earlier. There's more ways than one to make money on this guy. So what we're going to do is I'm taking Tyrrell Hatton minus a stroke and a half. You're seeing that anywhere from 120 to 130. We already made the case for Spieth. We know that he's just going to miss the cut. So we're good there. Now we need Hatton to get there, and then we win the bet. Real simple. Hatton, last week, similar field, 33 to 1. Now all the way up to 50. Some shops have him at 70, which is just absolutely insane. A bet outright, by the way. Go ahead and place it because he has absolutely win potential here. Last five of the last 6 starts, you have a win, a fourth, a third, and a fourth. Played really bad last week. Looked like he was just kind of over it. Probably thinking about the PGA, not so much winning St. Jude after a tough first round. So you're looking at a guy, you're getting a good value on him because he played poorly last week. Just ignore that round, and you're looking at a guy who has 4 straight top 5 finishes against Spieth. We already made the case. The dude's not going to hit the fairway. He's going to be hacking out all for the first 2 days. He's not going to see Saturday. So that's my favorite play of the week. Lay the stroke and a half. I just bet it at plus 120. Anything is good.
All right. Thank you. And last but of course not least, we got Coz. What's up, man? You got to make the fans at home a little money. Talk to me. What are your thoughts?
I'll do my best here. However, we're going to be fading the market tonight. We're going to go with one of my favorite league, actually, the WNBA. We didn't get a chance to talk about them tonight, but we have a total that's just getting way too high here. The total for Phoenix and Atlanta, it's at 178.5 over at Bookmaker right now. I played 176.5 earlier this morning, so if you see this in time, the game tips in a couple hours. You can get a better number than me, but I don't think we're going to get there. This total is just crazy for the WNBA. I know pace has been up for the league since their bubble started, but you need at least one team to get to 90 for this total, and that's a lot to ask for, even for a team like Phoenix or Atlanta, who's been playing better than they had in the past. So I like under 178.5. If you can stomach fading the market here, I think it's a good play.
All right, so lots of options there. Thank you guys so much. That is going to do it for us this time as in the Crosshairs. JD, Coz, Knish, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys. And for all of our viewers, we hope you guys listened to what these experts had to say. But of course, if you missed it, absolutely no worries. You can check out the whole show on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, just go ahead, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. It's Line Sniper HQ on YouTube. Now, join us Thursday when we give you the outlook for the rest of the games through the weekend. And of course, everything else you need to know to optimize your betting. This has been In the Crosshairs, brought to you by linesniper.com, your definitive resource for sports betting content and, of course, in-game analysis. For the team in the studio, you guys are the best. I'm Ali Melendez. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.